you always show up at just the right time. Your timing is impeccable. Check this out. Check this out. Look at this. I just got this UPS, and I'm very excited because this should be. Oh, by the way, Raptor report update. Raptor report. I like the way that sounds. I stole that from a friend. Totally stole. His name's Jeff. I totally stole it, Jeff. But check this out. This is more important. See this? This should be the paperwork for the Raptor. I am very excited to open this up. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got here. It's one of these interesting pull tabs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, pull tabs. And somebody's trying to call, of course. I'm trying to give you this awesome update. So that's going to have to wait because we got to see what do we have in this package. Oh, check this out. Check this out. Look at this. Let's peek in here. You see that? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so exciting. That looks like title information. Doesn't it look like that to you? It does to me. Let's see what we got in here. It's like Christmas or birthday. This is like birthday. That's what this feels like. This is like birthday. Let's pull out the first one. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, probably shouldn't have showed you that information. That's okay. I can trust you, right? Yeah, I totally can. Listen to that. It is. The first one is Retail Certificate of Sale. You know what that means? That means it's mine. It's Uncle Jake's got a Raptor. Woo woo. Okay, let's see what else we got in here, huh? There's a couple things. There's a couple more things. Oh, that looks so good. I like that. Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, certificate of title. It's just as exciting as I thought it would be. I'm so excited. I can't even wait. So I have to go because I have to sign some paperwork now so that I can own me a Raptor. Oh, wow. That's so cool. That's so awesome. Are you excited as I am? I'm so excited. I can't wait. Well, I'll keep you posted because now is the long wait. Now I have to wait for the Raptor. It's mine. It's on its way. I don't think it's shipped yet, but it's on its way. And so I'm gonna try to be very patient. I'm just gonna think about it. Think about the Raptor. All right. I can't wait to show this to you. This is so exciting. So I just got this message and, well, let me just show you. Take a look at this. Do you see this? This is a picture. Can you see it? I'll zoom in for you there so you can see it. Oh, wait. Easy. Do you see that? That's my truck. It's being loaded up on the transport. I can't believe it. The Raptor's on its way. The Raptor's on its way. Hi-ho the dairy-o, the Raptor's on its way. Hey. It's just so cool. This is it's incredible. Okay, I explained with words how I'm feeling. So there's a few stages that have taken place in this where I finally found it after months of looking. One I thought might be right, that felt like a step. Then negotiating a little bit with the dealership and getting it down to the Ford store for the big inspection, and then having them come back with the technicians so excited that they were calling me and wanting to FaceTime so they could show me the undercarriage and how awesome it was. And then, so that felt like a big deal because then it was like, okay, I'm sending the check. Then I sent the check and then I got it. That was big. You came by, you were with me when we got the, which was, again, really awesome timing when we got the paperwork for the titles. That felt really real. That felt like fun. But now, seeing this right here, where the truck is being loaded, I'm gonna show you again because it's so awesome. Oh, let me see. Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay, see that? That's so cool. And there's a couple more pictures. Let's take a look at the other pictures too. Oh, check it out. There it is. It's driving up on top. Isn't that awesome? That's so exciting. I can't believe it. There's one more picture though. Let me show you one more. Because they sent me 3. So, by the way, when they called and said, hey, we're gonna be, it's gonna be picked up this evening and we're gonna be loading it, I asked them if they'd take some pictures. It was so awesome that they took some pictures. I absolutely love it. Okay, so check this one out. This is where it's way up on top, just as a Raptor should be, right up on top of the heap of everything. Isn't that awesome? And that means it feels like when I saw these pictures that it's totally mine and it's coming. It's mine. That's my truck. It's mine and it's being shipped and it's so cool. I can hardly wait to get this. I still have to wait a whole nother week though. Oh, it's so much time. At least it's on its way though. So that's a quick Raptor report update. Thanks for coming on down, check it out with me. I really appreciate it. Share this together. It's so cool. All right. Hey, thanks for coming by. I sure appreciate it because it was a lot of fun. And now that we know the Raptor is on its way, it's also one of the most difficult times because now we have to wait. And waiting is tough, but it's easier with a friend. So I sure appreciate that. And there's also something to be said for delayed gratification, right? The more you work at something, the more effort you put into it, the more meaningful it is when you get it. And we certainly have put a lot into this. I mean, we spent months, you were with me, you know, months looking for this truck, months and months. And then sorry, my voice. I don't know what's going on there. Little allergies, I think, going on. Do you get allergies? I get allergies bad. And what a crazy time to have allergies too. Boy, you don't want to sneeze on anybody anyway, and you really don't want to do that now. That'll clear out a room. So you got to watch your allergies. Make sure you take your allergy medicine and stay safe. And so, but delayed gratification, because we spent months looking for this. And then we did all the work we possibly could with the dealership and getting it down to the other dealership to do the service check and find out that it was as good a condition as we can tell. And now it's on its way. So now we wait. But I did hear, this is kind of cool, in sort of, in a different, so I heard that the driver couldn't get the truck, my truck, on the transport truck because he thought it was a regular F-150 and it was not. It is a Raptor. So he had to unload all 7 cars, I feel bad for that guy, and put it up on top. But the Raptor's riding around now across the country on top like a king, like a Raptor king. So we wait. And don't worry, I promise, as soon as it shows up, I'll meet you. We'll do a cool walker. We'll check it out. It's going to be the Raptor. And we'll just be patient in the meantime and knowing that it's really going to pay off. So Uncle Jake loves you. Have an awesome rest of the day. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you when the Raptor shows up, huh? Yeah.